somebody from Key Largo Library. I don't know. Oh, it was just funny. I saw in an email or something that they had, whatever it was.
Sure, I did something.
No, it was nothing you did. It was on an ad or on something, a flyer.
Okay, so I am setting us up for live stream on YouTube. Medina and Linda can't be here this morning, so they asked to make sure I remember to record this. So I am setting it up right now. I'm setting us up for live stream on YouTube. And I don't have to listen to it. Alrighty. So, I have a list of things that I wanted to cover that I thought were pretty important that came up from information that Linnell had given me, that Medina had given me, and so it's sad Medina can't be here, but that's okay. She's going to rewatch it. And so I'm going to start with Social Security because I think it's pretty important. And I just want to make sure this is just a public service announcement to make sure that people understand what's going on with Social Security right now. We're going to start with Linnell's article. And not that one, this one. So Social Security numbers can be hacked. There's a lot of hacks out there right now that are massive, taking control of information, and there's not a lot you can do about the massive hacks. You can protect yourself from the small ones. You can protect yourself by making sure that you follow exactly what you're supposed to be doing in terms of having difficult passwords and having two-factor authentication, not having the same password for anything. All of those things are really important. Also, making sure, of course, that you are not responding to any emergency, oh my gosh, we gotta, deal with this right now, requests for things. If there's urgency, you put the brakes on and you engage what you know to be true rather than following this emotional emergency. So we're gonna go from that point and talk about when they get hacked. So databases, like I was saying, this is the article that you're going to have. Here's an example. A hacker group stole 2.9 billion identity records in several countries, including millions of Americans. And it also included Social Security numbers. Some of the data has been leaked on the dark web already where it's being sold. So we know this is all happening. So one thing you can do is to make sure that you monitor your credit. So this particular company, like Malwarebytes, this is IDX. We got this, Linnell, correct me if I'm wrong. This was from a healthcare hack, right?
Correct. It was from that healthcare or the United Healthcare subsidiary hack. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got one. My husband got one. Somebody who doesn't even live here anymore, who changed their address, got one sent to this address. So apparently, we knew it was a big hack, but and it offers this particular company, IDX, to monitor your credit for free. And so I signed up for it. And anytime I get one of those, I do go ahead and sign up for it because I've gotten many now where it's like, here, sign up for this. So I go in and I check and I make sure that all of this is valid. I go to the source, I take the information that's given to me, and these come in an envelope in the mail. This isn't just an email. This is something that comes to my post office. And so I would then follow the trails and make sure that this is real. And once I've looked at a bunch of sources, determined that it is real, then I go ahead and set up the credit monitoring with that account. I've probably got 5 different things monitoring my credit right now because they offer them for free. And my husband says, why would you bother? You already got one. I bother because each one gives you an insurance policy if something were to happen. So if something were to happen with a particular hack, let's just say, what was the one? Ticketmaster. I didn't actually do that one. I buy so few tickets. But Ticketmaster was offering X amount of protection, and IDX offers, and TransUnion offers. There's a bunch of them that I'm on right now. And they offer this protection. And I'm thinking, okay, if the company that is paying for the protection, let's just say United Healthcare, determines that my credit was stolen, my identity was stolen because of the Ticketmaster breach, IDX is not going to cover me. They're not going to insure that breach. It's Ticketmaster's problem. So when they send it to me, go ahead and sign up for all of them because, I'll have a policy here, a policy here, a policy here, and each one is going to cover that stream of that breach. So, my husband's going, we already got one. Yeah, it's only going to cover that one hack. So that's why I do that. Going back to this IDX, so this was one of them. And so they all give you the information that we see again and again and again to do. Set up dark web scanning. You can do that with any of your antivirus. Obviously, IDX is going to try and sell you something like they all are. You can say no. If a Girl Scout comes to your door and selling you cookies, you don't have to buy them, right? Same thing with all of these. You can say no. You do want to have a, vibrant, vigorous antiviral program that's going to protect you against all this stuff, and have the monitoring that comes free because somebody made a mistake and now they're going to cover you, but you do not have to buy their plan. So ignore that part. Understand that while it looks like an article, that is an advertisement right there for them. But there's good information in here. So the other thing that you can do when we say dark web scanning, I do that with Google. My Google account does dark web scanning. All I have to do is turn it on. So if you have a Google account, even if you don't use Gmail, we almost all have Google accounts these days, then, turn that on. Or if, I don't know, Apple people, does Apple have a dark web scanning one option?
I don't
Anybody know?
know.
All right.
Oh, no,
No?
I don't
don't know.
Okay, don't know. So one thing you can do in order to dark web scan, you can go to, can you see my Google search bar?
Yes.
I switch
Yeah.
pages, so sometimes it doesn't do that. I can go to Have I Been Pawned? And if I go to Have
Oh,
I
yeah.
Been
So big,
Pawned?
right?
And I put in my email address, and we've done this before. Morning, Andy. And I presume Renee. I think that's whose voice I'm hearing. And so when I click this in, have I been pawned? And I scroll down and it tells me the breaches I was pawned in and when it happened. These are old stuff. All of these problems have been fixed since then. But and almost all of them, boy, it's a lot. So then when you start getting into these combo lists and these newer ones where they are doing the big breaches that I was talking about, this is how many millions of people have been, their records but compromised. These are the big ones. Notice this does not say social security number. Combo list doesn't say social security number. I'm not changing my email address, but I do change the password to my email address frequently. So none of these are talking about social security numbers. I'm scanning real quickly. None of these say social security numbers, but I have in my Gmail dark web scan, I have seen that the social security numbers have been. So that's why I took the deep dive. There's Renee and Andy. I have taken the deep dive into what happens if your social security number is compromised. Hi, Kathy. So going back to that, what are they saying to do? Sorry, go away. Sorry, I have a lot of pages open. Monitor your credit. And we talked in the past about making sure that you are checking your credit. A good place to check is Credit Karma. I have the app on my phone and I look frequently and it shows me when there are, anything happening. Now, I haven't had anything happen in quite a long time because I froze my credit. That means that nobody can set up any new accounts for anything. So that's another layer of protection. If you're not going to buy something big that needs a credit check, then go ahead and freeze your credit. You can unfreeze it at any time. And there they talk about freezing your credit, using multi-factor authentication, two-factor authentication, get an identity protection pin. If they have your social security number, they might try and file a false tax return. Consider getting a free identity protection pin from the IRS. It helps the IRS verify who you are. And then being the victim of identity theft is huge. And there's the steps going to identitytheft.gov with the Federal Trade Commission to help you. So we are going to go over to the Social Security Administration next because I wanted to just familiarize us there. And this is a good transition to some of the other things that we were going to talk about. So all I went to was ssa.gov, and this is their main landing page. A lot of this has nothing to do with security. You have to go down, 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 down. Now, here's the authentication services. I wanted to make sure, and this is transitioning into getting your real ID, that everyone has gone to Social Security and gotten their new online service with login.gov. Does everybody have that?
Yes.
Good. Everybody know about it if you haven't done it yet.
Explain that again, please.
Okay. So if you have any dealings that you're going to do with Social Security, you must now have the online account with login.gov. And that's why I went to the Social Security main page to show you. Somebody had told me about this, might have been Linda, about 6 months ago. And I was like, what? I didn't hear about that. And I don't know why we don't hear about it, but I wanted to verify and make sure it was true. So I'm going to go back to that page. And you saw that it was the actual Social Security Administration page. And it says right here that we're making changes to the way you access Social Security's online services. So we're going to go to learn more. Oh, stop. Thank you. All right. So how to transition your Social Security account to login.gov. And it's funny because, when I heard this the first time, I was like, that sounds fake. But I am on Social Security, and this is the article on how you do this, why it's important, what you need to do. They said they did a press release about it, but transitioning frequently asked questions, login.gov, there's the link for it. Beginning June 2024, people who signed in to My Social Security were given the option to transition to login.gov. It's not going to be an option. I believe this is the year. Let's see. Is there a deadline? Is going away later this year. Well, they're not even stating when the deadline is. But this was written in 2024. So presumably in 2025, you must transition to login.gov to access anything for your Social Security. So when this other article, IDX, was talking about getting your PIN with Social Security, this would also be where you're going to do it, but you have to get a login.gov and ID me account first. In this article, we're not going to go into it because you just have to read it. It's simple, but I wanted to make sure that everybody here knows that it's real and that you do need to do that. So, Terry.
I'm not sure if it's a question or information. Anytime they somebody asks for your Social Security, the last 4 numbers of your Social Security, does that mean they already have that on record? because I thought that's why, I mean, I'm not talking about somebody selling you windows or something like that, but I'm talking about bank, credit card, even, I'm trying to think of what else. Forms, I guess you fill out. It'll say, the last, what I'm talking about, which is last four letters.
Yeah, I
last four numbers.
do. Last four numbers of your social security number.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what are you asking?
I'm saying that they only do that because they already have that information and just want to make sure
Oh,
that it's correct, is what I always thought it was. But then now I started thinking, yeah,
that's a really good question. I don't know. I would imagine with your bank, it's because
Yeah.
they already have it. With a government agency, probably because they already have it. Other companies and things, maybe they're just trying to
doctors,
identify.
maybe
Like,
he was from doctors or something. I don't know. Okay, I'll find that out. And the other thing is about your social security card, that you should not have that with you. And then sometimes that's a problem because I don't know, you don't know that you'd need that card or something. I put it like in my notes on my phone, a copy of them. I guess that's too easy though to be in notes.
So let's walk through the why you shouldn't have it with you.
Because even though you can get a lot of information from a credit card or even your license and stuff, that's the one thing that can just immediately be taken over if you have that actual social security card with all its all the things that it identifies you with.
And they teach us that too.
Wallet is stolen or lost. Oh, I was going to say you work with, well, you work with Medicare, right?
Right, and seniors, and we always say do not carry your card because, it could get stolen and then you're hacked.
Or you lose it. I mean, sometimes it's more not just getting robbed, but
Right.
someplace, and that's the one.
Most people
Go ahead.
most people have it memorized anyhow.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Most people have it memorized. Amy, is there any instance where you physically have to present your card with what
Yeah.
you do?
No, I usually only have to see their Medicare card. And as you know, that used to have our social security number
Yeah.
on it. Then they quit
Right.
that and gave a big long number. So
Yeah, so I always keep mine in
To
my
get like
safety
a
deposit.
license, or I think for a couple of different things I remember needing, but but
yeah,
not very many.
we never have to ask anybody to see their social security card.
Good. Okay. Good question. Linnell.
What's the difference between a login.gov and a idme.gov sign in?
Okay, we're gonna go right there, back there. I actually had moved on to the next one, but we'll go back to that. So, when we scroll down. Okay. So login.gov is your one government account, and ID.me is a single sign-on provider that also meets US government online identity proofing. You can use ID.me account to access government and private services. So I don't think that it would hurt to have both, because they're talking about them here. They're not really explaining what the two are. I have login.gov. So
I do
can't
too.
answer that. I can't answer that. Why don't we go there for a minute? Since it's a good question. All right, ID.me Help Center. Troubleshooting, can't sign in, rejected, explored by topic, identity verification. So it looks like it's, across the board for several government ones. Identifies how individuals prove and share their identity online. Interesting. I don't really know. We can explore it though. I'll send this link to you all and you all can play around with it and see, but I would 100% trust it because, when we go here to transition to the login.gov, they offer that as something else to do. So I would go ahead and trust it and check it out. The next thing I wanted to do was go to the Social Security number, Social Security Administration's article on identity theft. I thought it was very interesting that given how archaic many government websites are, this particular one has a PDF and it's optimized for phone. I mean, you can see this is exactly how it came up when I clicked on their link for identity theft. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that you do not have to struggle through tiny print on a PDF. When it comes up, you can just go to this little magnifying glass down here in the corner and make it as big as you want so you can actually read it, even though it's optimized for phone. So here is the article about Social Security numbers, how people can steal them. And right there, first one it says is stealing wallets and purses. So that would go to not carrying it. Unsecured sites online, rummaging through your trash. I don't know if anybody still does that. It's so much easier just to hack it online. Buying personal information from inside sources, such as we'll just pick on Wells Fargo because they did it, where Wells Fargo employees were selling this stuff, but also through major, online hacks. So talking about being careful of your card, and then it goes into exactly what to do if you think that you have had it stolen. And so it's got all of the information here, phone numbers, links, everything to do, and about getting a new Social Security number. You can actually get a new Social Security number if your identity has been stolen. They don't give them out like cookies, but so if it's lost, you can't get a new one. If it's stolen, you can't get a new one unless you can prove that someone is using the number. So what you have to do, though, is you have to go in person to the office. And I read this elsewhere on the site. So it goes all into how to do this and talking to people about it. It's only an 8-page document. So that would be useful just to kind of familiarize yourself with, in the hopes that, this never ever happens to any of us, but you might know somebody that it happens to. So knowing what they can do, and I didn't know until this whole thing started with login.gov that you can actually get a new Social Security number. So that's good to know. But you do have to go to the Social Security office in person with the correct documents, and all of that's listed on their online page as to what you need to bring. And Kathleen, I'm sorry, none of this has to do with Canada.
It's okay, I'm looking up my address.
I mean, I'm sure that our systems are somewhat similar, so surely you're going to have the same kind of protections. What is your administration called? Is it Social
That's what I'm looking
Security?
up.
Do you have Social Security, or what is it called? Your pension?
Oh yeah, we have a SIN number, social insurance number.
Okay. So I
And I
figured
didn't know you could get another one. That's probably possible here too.
I would imagine. I mean,
Yeah.
in this day and age, Anyway, so any questions about Social Security numbers? Okay, next one is Real ID. Does everybody have a Real ID?
I knew the ID.
Yeah, Real ID. Okay, that's a new one too. It's like, what? Linnell, your hand is up from before, right? I'm gonna lower it. You raise it up again if that was a fresh question. Maybe she's filling her coffee cup. All right.
Yeah, I was. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Good for you. I don't even remember. All right. So let me go to Real ID. My question was your hand up from before? And I lowered it.
Yeah.
Or did you have
let
a
me-
new one? New question? No, she
No.
muted again. Okay.
Sorry, no.
That's all right. Okay, so the next one is Real ID. If you, I should have brought it with me. if you take out your driver's license, if you have a star in the upper right-hand corner, you have a real ID already. If you don't have one, and let's just go to that website so you can see what real ID is. All right, so real ID. Oh, interesting. Somebody has a bear. I wonder if that's California. Yep, that's a California one. Other states have stars or stars with a circle in it. So if you look right here, see the star up there, that means that you're ready to fly. So if you are flying domestic and not using a passport or a passport card, then, and you're just using your driver's license for your identity, by May 7th of 2025, you won't be able to get on that plane if you don't have, or even get through security, if you don't have this star and have what's considered now a real ID. So, oh, they're even doing a countdown. 118 days, 13 hours. That's so funny. Also, to access certain federal facilities. So I'm guessing if you're going to go into a federal courthouse, maybe even something like a Social Security building. I don't know. That's a federal facility. So map out your real ID readiness. You can pick your state and it will take you to, oh no, that says compliant. It looks like they're all compliant. They're all green.
Yeah.
So let's go to North Carolina because that's where I live. Headed to the DMV office. Make sure you have some tips that might be helpful. Mine already has the star, so I'm not going to go there. But this is what it does. North Carolina DMV website takes me to exactly what I need. And they are compliant. So that means if I'm getting a new driver's license, I'm going to have one that is a real ID. So obviously in all states, if I click on Florida, where some of you are residents, it's going to talk about exactly the information you need to do to get a real ID right here. Let's see, some folks are in Michigan, I believe. And, oh, that's fun. You have this date outline of your real ID with a star, though. It says that they've been redesigned. So if you don't have this on your Michigan address, your Michigan driver's license, then you need to get a new driver's license. There's the older, the standard one, interesting, has a star. Let's see. It is real ID compliant. IDs will display with a star and a gold circle in the upper right-hand corner. So why I'm bothering to do this, because I know everybody isn't in Michigan, is the fact that every state is different. So whatever state you call home, that's the one you should go ahead and check and see what are the state's requirements, what does it look like. And let's go back. If I said, am I planning to fly? Let's just say this. Yes. Does your driver's license have a star or ID or say enhanced? Let's say no, even though mine does. Do I have a passport? I'm going to pretend I don't. Okay, then check here to see if you have one of these forms to use to board. And there's the link. What forms would I need to board at TSA? I would need any one of these forms. So while you might not have to go get your real ID, there's a lot of other kinds of paperwork that you would need. Make sure it's real ID compliant. They just keep saying this again and again and again. So I'm going to send you all of these links to make sure that you can at least check yourself and make sure that you have what you need if you're going to fly. And you might go, oh, I'm not going anywhere this year. I'm just going to drive. We never know. And, you know, it would be, let's just say, I don't know, you went to go to the Social Security Administration and they all decide you need a real ID to get in there too. It's like, ooh, wow, that's not good. So you just don't want to be caught unawares. You want to make sure that you have this stuff lined up and ready to go. We've been given plenty of notice about it. And Kathleen, again, I don't know, you know, how that would affect traveling
I
in
don't know.
Canada.
I don't know either.
But, you know, coming across the border, you would carry your passport. So, you know, that's piece of cake. So, but saying that, remember, if it's been a while that since you've traveled, for any of us, that if you take a look at your passport, you know, when does it expire? If we haven't traveled in a while, might want to check that because you want to have a passport that is within a year, I believe. Most
6
most
months.
countries
6 months in
6
Canada.
months? Okay. And know that it may take a while to get it back, or you pay a bunch of money to get an express one, which aren't that express, right? Has anybody done the fast passport? I still think it takes several weeks. So it's not like you can renew it in a heartbeat. It's things you want to think about in advance. Also, if you were a frequent traveler, and where's our Jackie? You want to make sure that there are plenty of pages because they also are sticklers about making sure that your passport is not full. Even if it's within, you know, your plenty of time with your expiration date. If you traveled a lot and have a lot of stamps in there, there are certain countries that say, well, you don't have enough pages in here. And so they won't allow you to go back in. They want to make sure that there's space for coming and going and stamping that passport, not stamping over another one. So I don't know if it's specific, like countries will say this many pages or this many pages, but I know it is a rule in a lot of places. So check that as well. So in case we're going traveling at all this year, any questions about any of that? All right. Yeah.
Funny comment. Israel does not stamp your passport because they don't want to put you in a situation where other countries will not let you in because you have an Israeli stamp on your passport. They put a sticker on your passport
Oh,
that you must leave on during the time you're coming and going.
interesting. Interesting. I wonder if any other countries do that. That's interesting. All right. TSA pre-check. Who has that?
I do.
All right. So what did you have to do it?
Well, actually, I went through global entry, and global entry includes TSA pre-check. So
Okay.
global entry is almost as bad as getting a passport. You have to go through showing your birth certificate. You have to go get your fingerprints done, your facial ID done, et cetera, personal. And you have to do it in person. You can't
Yes.
do it
Yes.
the way.
And where do you go?
For global entry, you have to go to an airport that has a global entry office.
So I believe Miami does.
Yeah, well, I was in Michigan at the time, so I went to Detroit. So
Okay.
I'm assuming Miami's got one because they're an international,
Yeah.
big international airport.
The bigger ones do. I don't think some of the smaller ones do. Joyce?
Yeah, so I have not global entry. I have TSA pre-check, and it's the same thing. I did it in Miami Airport.
Does anybody know if Fort Lauderdale has it? Don't know. When I was going to do it and I didn't end up doing it, we were going to Miami, but you know, you've got to make an appointment. You've got, you know, a certain window of time that you have to block out. It's not easy, but it does make it easier to get on planes, makes it easier to travel. You use the shorter lines. Any other benefits that you can see? Those.
Yeah, you don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to take your computer out of your bag.
Ah.
You don't have to take your toiletry thing out of your bag.
Huh.
And once you do it once, you can renew it online. You don't have to go
Oh,
back.
Right,
good.
right.
Good. Okay.
That's global. So
That's-
global entry and TSA pre-check sounds like pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But global, I think the one thing people should be aware of, like my credit card paid for my global entry fee. So a lot of perks, or a lot of credit cards, it's a perk on your credit card.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And how much is the fee?
For global entry, it was $100 for, I think it's 3 years.
Okay. Huh.
But they paid,
Can
You
I
know,
ask who your credit card company is?
US Bank.
Huh, okay.
I have the Chase United card, and they pay for it also.
Hmm. I never heard of that. That's Amy's going, wow, that's pretty amazing. And I agree. I'm going to go to
Cards are
the,
not free cards. I mean, I pay,
no, no. But the global entry was free because they paid for it.
right?
And my card's a free card. I do not have an annual fee on my card.
Huh.
Really? Right, okay.
Huh.
Mhm.
See, we always learn something good here. All right, so global entry, here's the page with US Customs and Border. I will send you this link if you're interested. Trusted travel program enrollment, and there's all of the information about it.
I can tell you that it takes a while to get the appointment for global entry. So, I mean, I was interested
Agree.
in getting it, and I discovered that, I didn't have enough time, so I just renewed my trusted
Huh.
travel. It took like over a month, I think, or maybe
Huh.
more.
So it didn't take as long to get the TSA one?
Right.
Okay. So I had already had the TSA pre-check one pulled up, so that you'll have this, information. So pretty easy how it's gonna, describe to you. There's the prices. This is the TSA one. No appointment needed. Huh. Select locations, 7 days a week, $77. Interesting. Okay. Or there's your renew online. Oh, wow. It's even cheaper to renew online. That's
Hmm.
interesting. So there's the prices for that. And this is TSA pre-check. So is TSA pre-check only for domestic flights?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're going to fly internationally, this is what you would need is the global entry.
Well, it doesn't help you get through other countries' security. What it lets you do, it expedites your entry through immigration.
Okay. Well, that's always nice because those lines are long.
Right.
We just came back from Costa Rica and that's a good bit of a wait. That's how our people watch. All right, so some information if you're going to be doing any traveling anytime soon. I'll be sending those links as well. Next is faxing from phones. That was a question that I think Medina had asked, and how do we do that? So let's talk about faxes for a minute. Ooh, that's an archaic word. Who in the world faxes anymore? Doctors'
Doctor's office.
offices. And why do doctors' offices fax? Because it's more secure. It's using a whole different system of transmitting data. It's using those landlines, that hardwired landlines that aren't hackable. It's coming through on something that looks like a copier. I might as well call it a typewriter for as archaic as those fax machines seem. But doctors' offices still do that. So okay, that's kind of annoying if you don't have a fax machine, because who does? How do you do that? You get an app. I clicked on two different apps. We're still on TSA. Sorry, I didn't load it up. So here is for all of you Apple people. When I went to a variety of different articles and in the Apple's community and Apple support, you have to get the app. And so this is the one that comes from the App Store, Fax from iPhone. This was the first one that came up from Apple as a recommendation. They did have several. I'm sure there are several in your app stores. If I go to Scott's iPad here and look in the App Store for faxing, it's taken a while for my husband's iPad is pretty old now, but it still works. All right, so let's just do fax on an Apple. It has Fax Free is one company. That's an ad. I don't ever go to the ad ones. Fax from iPhone, that's the first one that comes up, the same one you're looking at. There's also Fax Plus. The one you're looking at has 5 stars. The next one down is Fax Plus, has 4.5 stars, which is still great, but it's not 5 stars. Fax for iPhone, a different looking one is 5 stars. So lots of different ones. Send and receive documents from your phone. That's how you're going to do it. With the Android folks, Fax Plus, which is also the same one that is, so this one goes across. Fax Plus is the same company and it works across Android and Apple. This one here. I also see this in the App Store. So all you would do is find one that you think you want to use. Now, question, how are we going to decide what we're going to use? We always use the same criteria to look at any app that we're going to download. First thing we do is we look at the stars. This has 4.7 stars. Okay, that's good enough. How many downloads? 1 million plus. Okay, good. How many reviews in this 4.7 stars? 21,000 reviews. I'm going to say that a lot of people reviewed it. If there were 21 reviews or even 214 reviews, I probably wouldn't even consider it because, you can just get all your friends to say something's good for that. But this is a lot of people talking about it. If I scroll down, I'm going to look and I'm going to read the about this app. And don't forget, you can click on it and get all the details about what does this tell you you can and cannot do. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It's what's better for you. What one actually is going to work for your needs and your devices. Updated. So this was updated on December 5th, 2024. So that's great that, they're constantly working on updates. I would say this looks like a pretty darn good one. Safety starts with understanding. Here's a whole article about their data safety. They don't share with third parties what it might collect from you. And of course, you always talk about, giving permissions or not. You request that data is deleted. That sounds wonderful. Data is encrypted in transit. That sounds wonderful. Let's look at the reviews. I see 4.7 stars out of 5. That's great. Lots and lots of good reviews. Let's see who hated it and why. So I want to look at the reviews. So if I click here, and I can go to most relevant, I can go to newest, I can go to rating, I can go to, I want to see what the 1-star folks said. 1 star. Was great to use until you pay. Service is questionable. So I didn't even consider that you might have to pay for this. I was only trying to pay for the additional pages. First 10 are free. Okay, didn't know that. And interestingly, I like the fact that this company then responded. Hi, Marie, can you send us email so we can assist you? So how many times does an app actually assist you? That's pretty good. He thinks it works well, was able to send without any problem, increased pricing. So his argument here also was pricing. And again, they responded to him. And this is a good reason to send a review for things, particularly if you're having a problem with a company like this, and these are older, it looks like that they're going to respond to your problem. So I love to check and see what are the big problems. And then of course, they're going to put the wonderful reviews generally on top. So let's go and see it reordered it now. If I scroll down, here's the 1-star reviews because I reordered that. Now here's a 5-star one. Worked very well. Lets you use free even when it wasn't an 800 number. So good information. Always check the reviews there. Check the stars. Make sure that it is free. So where would I know this? I would go here and in about the app. And it does tell you, I just saw that in the little blurb here. first 10 pages are free. Okay, so there's an implication there. That means that the 11th page isn't free. So they told you right up front before you even download it that it is not free. It doesn't have the features and advantages. I'm looking if it says, if it lists their pricing here. Here we go, down here. All right. Plans start at $6.99 a month. Now, if you're a business and the business is on the go and people aren't in a traditional office, that might be a good deal. Doesn't say specifically if you've got a per page, like, if you had to doing a house closing or something like that. It does tell what's compatible. So that is a good thing to know. So always read when you're looking at any kind of new app, read the whole information about it and make sure in the about that it's something that you want. So maybe this one isn't for you. Maybe you, once or every year or so need to send something that's more than 10 pages. You don't want to spend $6.99 a month. Then you can go back and look for a different one. In your App Store or in your Google Play Store, there's going to be a lot of choices. I'm guessing that they're not going to be free. How much is it to go to, because now we can't go to Office Depot or Staples or anything like that. How much is it can you fax at the library? I don't know. Can you fax at like going postal? Oh, Terry left. Any of the independent postal stores? What's that one in Islamorada near I have North Carolina brain. Islamorada
Whatnet? Postnet.
Postnet, that's it. Can you fax from there?
Yes.
Do we know what
Yes.
it costs per page?
I want to say $1, but maybe
Okay.
60 cents. I don't know. I only did it because I had to, and it's about
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
So
So, okay, let's just go with that. If it's $1 and the other one is $6.99 per month, I would go ahead and get the $6.99 and then cancel my subscription, If you just need it every now and then, you can start one up and cancel one as often as you like. $6.99 now sounds like a bargain if it's $1 a page somewhere else. So anyway, that's how you can fax by phone, and not have to go somewhere to do it. So that's pretty cool. I would imagine, I didn't try it, but I would imagine that the app itself is going to have a great option to use your camera, because remember, you're going to need to give it permission to use your camera so that you can hold this over the document and capture it. How many people make online check deposits? Like you get a check and you make an online deposit and you gave your bank permission to hold this so that it will use your camera and upload the picture of that check so you can make a mobile deposit. Same thing. If you don't have something, I have 2 apps actually that already scan documents. One is more for scanning photos, but my Lens, and this is actually a Microsoft product. Show you what it looks like. And that's called Lens. And that will allow me to scan. So it automatically takes control of my camera. That's where it starts from. And I can hold it over anything at all. And it gives me that same little square like it does with the bank, where it centers up on the document and says, okay, we're going to do this. Then I click the little take a picture button and it gives me the picture. I just used my pad here. And then I can even up the corners with this and make sure I'm capturing everything that I want. And then, so I made it a little bit smaller, and then I hit confirm. And then I have options. I can change the file size. I can change the resolution. I'm going to take that down. I can crop it. I can put filters over it, but I'm just going to say done because I just want the document as it is. When I say done, it goes to a file list, and here I get to rename it. What it does is it names it with my date and time. So it gives me a date and time stamp, but I'm not going to find something that way. So it gives me the little pen there to go ahead and change the name of it. So I'm just going to call this faxing paper, because whatever. And then I get to choose, where do I want to save it? I can save it in my gallery as a picture file. So I would just click that there. I can save it as a PDF, which is the default because I'm only really using this for scanning documents. So I can save it as a PDF. That's my default. And I would go down to the bottom and I would say save. I can also save it as a PowerPoint, a Word document. And because it's a Microsoft product, it's going to give me their two ways to save it, OneNote and OneDrive, which I don't use. I would save it as a PDF. Click save. Once I click save, then get my silly camera to show how it is. Here's my list of all of the PDFs that I have saved this way. And they are all literally pictures of documents, but they're saved as PDFs. So then, and they are saved in the Microsoft Cloud, but then I can go ahead and I can, right next to the document, there are those three little dots. So if I click on the three dots, it gives me options. I can edit it, rename it, share it, or delete it. Right there. So if I click share, then it gives me, how do I want to share it? Do I want to send it? And this is what my Google Pixel phone is going to give me. Do I want to email it? Do I want to send as a text? Do I want to save it in my notes? Do I want to save it to send it to people that I normally send to? I can add it to a whole bunch of different apps that I have. I can save it to my Google Drive. Endless ways that I can take this document that I've then scanned and then send it elsewhere. So maybe I'm prepping to do something. I haven't done the fax thing yet, or I haven't gotten, you know, when I'm supposed to fax it or where I'm supposed to fax something, but I'm going ahead and preparing the document. Now I've got it saved and ready to go. So I really like my Microsoft Lens app, because it's pretty straightforward and does what I need it to do. And there are many apps that are going to do that for you, document scanners. I've just used that one for a while and I'm happy with it. Questions so far?
No question, but Apple, you can do any kind of scanning you want through the Notes app.
Good, good. And that is, let me just pull his up.
You start in Notes, you start to create a note, you go to do an attachment, and then you go from there. And I got to run because I got a meeting, so I can't finish talking about that.
Okay. But there's the Notes app for those of you who haven't.
I
used
have to go too. Thank you.
Okay, so good to see you. Send me your questions if you have something you want to talk about next week. All right, in the Notes app, when I pull this up, you can see at the top there are a lot of options. There's a camera. I'm betting that's how you're going to scan a document. I haven't used this before because I don't have Notes. Anybody besides Linnell use this to scan a document? Notes? Okay. Play around with it, you Apple people. See if you like it. So it's great to know what your resources are, things we already have on our phone that we didn't know. All right, last question and last thing, if we don't have any more questions about that. Oh, Carlene is driving. I'm like, is she holding up? Is she raising her hand? No, she's holding the steering wheel. I love that she takes us on the road. Don't get in a wreck. You don't have to unmute. QR codes. I know we all know what they are. We all survived COVID. We all went through the time when all of the restaurants put their menus on QR codes. So that's a very common thing that we use, and it's everywhere we go. I do want to caution about QR codes. Bye, guys. I think that's a bye, a goodbye wave. Yes. QR codes can be created by anyone. I have shown you, you can go to QR code generator and you can take any link at all, put it in a QR code, put it out there for people to share, use, scan. Know that, like someone had talked about with the Miami parking lot where they had put stickers over official QR codes, people were trying to park and they had them going elsewhere. They can be as easy as putting a sticker over something and you don't trust it anymore. And that's a new one and that's clever. And I have to, as much as I hate hackers, I have to admire the ingenuity of physically walking around Miami and putting this on parking signs. It's just, I'm sorry, but okay, you put in some effort on that one. But knowing that that one exists, we have to remember that other ones exist as well. So being very, very careful. If the Joy Center sends you something with a QR code, I would trust it. Nobody's hacking the Joy Center, I'm pretty sure. We're small potatoes. If a friend sends you a QR code, if a business that you walk into, Paddle the Florida Key used to have a QR code that people could just hover their phone over the counter. It would pull up the waiver to rent equipment right on their phones so that no one was having to touch other people's stuff. Even though we're way post-COVID mostly, it's just nice not to touch other people's stuff, you know? I don't know. Maybe it changed my thoughts about fingers and stuff. Joyce.
Sometimes I'm on my computer and a QR code shows up on the computer, which now let's say I want to fill out a form, rather than give you, they say here, do it, but it's on my computer. So then I take my phone and I point it at the computer, but that means I got to fill it out on the phone, but I don't want to fill it out on the phone. I want to fill it out on the computer.
It's so dumb. It is so dumb. I hate that. I don't understand. I wonder the thinking behind that of who in the world thinks that's going to work. It is annoying and I don't know the workaround. I've thought about that a lot. I don't think there is a solution. I'll think about it some more. There must be a reason for that, but you're right. So let's be safe about those, making sure that we trust the source for them. And know that they're really handy in many situations, particularly when we're going from paper to digital. I think that's where it makes the most sense. Digital to digital makes no sense to me, but paper to digital makes a lot of sense. And it's a really handy tool, but don't hover over any QR code that you think that might even possibly have a remote reason for stealing your information. Heinz ketchup bottles. I'm sure many products do, but Heinz did. Years ago, there was they were doing a veterans special and they were honoring the USO and they were saying, scan our QR code and you can, vote to donate money to the USO. And if they got a certain number of votes, my parents met at the USO, so absolutely I did that. I scanned a Heinz bottle for heaven's sakes. But, for the most part, I'm not going to bother to scan a product QR code. I will scan a product barcode because I'm going to get that information of, nutrition information and pricing and everything else that's in there. But just to scan a product, probably not. So be aware of them, know that they exist out there, know that they're very helpful tools and potentially problematic as well. So that's what I got for this week. I'm really glad you all joined us. Looks like yoga is setting up. Terry's coming to shut me down. So have a great week. Send me your
Thank you.
questions. I look
Thank
forward to
you.
seeing you.
See you
Yes,
later,
thank
Kathy.
you.
Betsy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Okay.